How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Sideline. I'm Brooke Fletcher. That's our girl, Dani K. Dani, how's your week been? It's been a minute since we caught up.
I know. Well, I did get to see you like a full week ago now because we took a little week off. But
Yes.
I went to Chicago. It was so fun to see you. This past week has been awesome. I just joined a beach volleyball league, and I've been filling in for a beach volleyball league the next day. So Tuesdays are my day. Wednesdays I fill in, and then Saturday mornings at the beach, everyone, just a bunch of groups of friends just get together and play volleyball as well. So it's been a volleyball infused week, but it feels so fun because this is the beach living I was looking forward to. And I hate rubbing it in because I know you've just been so busy.
I know. I was just thinking, I'm like, man, the beach sounds so nice actually right now. Wait, so did you grow up playing volleyball?
No, I actually know nothing about the sport, truly. Like I've watched, my college roommate was a volleyball player, so I've obviously gone to a lot of games and familiar with certain terms and like the general patterns and stuff. But when you enter this league, there's the Premier League and then there's the beer league. And I fit myself right into that beer league section. I want to get better though, because on the weekends, some of my friends that are really good play twos. So 2 versus 2 on the other sides of the net. And like that to me is crazy stamina, and especially like moving and trying to jump in the sand. So I'd want to get to a point where I'd be asked to play in that. We're not there yet. And to be honest with you, we're not even close, but it's actually really fun. Did you play volleyball growing up?
No. I always say the one sport that I will never be good at, and that's okay, is volleyball. Even just growing up like in PE when we would play it, I don't know. I didn't like it. And then in Detroit, or it was like right when I first got to Detroit, there was a boy that I was like kind of flirting with, and he was like, let's go play volleyball. And I was like, okay, nope. That did not go well. This was long before Jake. But
I feel like if a guy asks you to play a sport, correct me if I'm wrong, and you suck at it, that's supposed to happen. Like I always felt
well, it was
like
with
that's
like
an
a big
attractive quality for a guy.
Well, of course, I'm the idiot, and I'm like, yeah, like, I used to play some, like, in PE, like, in high school, I was like, Brooke, you suck at this sport. What are you doing? You're about to embarrass yourself. Get out there. Thought I could pick it up, and I was the person on the team that everybody was like, can you please go sit over there? Like, you're hurting us. Yeah. So it was fine. Whatever. But yeah, I should have known better. I'm good on the sidelines when it comes to beach volleyball and volleyball, so I'll come to cheer you on.
Do you think that guys like feel like that's cute? I feel like guys think it's cute when a girl's not good at sports, which is why I always try to dumb down how good I am at a certain sport, because you don't want anybody to like get inferior.
I think it's about like how you own it. Like if you own it, you're just like, oh, I'm just not very good, and like you kind of play that up. But I was getting legit
I love that your
pissed.
Shoulders got into that too.
I was getting legit pissed off that I'm like, gosh dang it, why am I not good at this? So it's fine. But I'm so happy that you're playing beach volleyball because you're a stud and you can probably pick it up like that. So
it's very fun. It's a good way to stay social and a good way to like just have a reason to go to the beach and do something active. But curious, what have you been up to? Because I know you've been super busy, thick of baseball season. What's going on? Catch me up.
So everything is going well. The White Sox, right before they went to LA, they took the series versus the Giants. And so I feel like we're approaching the trade deadline. We're at the halfway point of the season. And so there's like a little, we're at the point now where it's like, who's going to stay? Are we going to make moves? Especially given where the White Sox are now. So I think, there's a lot to think about. We don't know what the team is going to look like in a couple weeks. We might not make any moves, but the White Sox, they're in a good spot. Like the young guys, they have been, showing up and showing out the way that they've been adapting at this level. And so I think it gets a lot of people excited about what's to come with the team. Kind of match that with like the pitching staff and the veteran presence. Like I know I'm an optimist and I know everybody's like, okay, don't be a cheerleader. But I think as far as rebuilds go, you look at like teams like the Tigers and how long it took them to rebuild and other teams. Like, I don't think the White Sox, it's going to take that long, just given where the young guys are and like how well that they're starting to perform and like, how things are coming together.
How do the players respond to all the negative press and negative thoughts surrounding their team? Because that has to be hard.
Yeah. I think, especially in a sport like baseball where there's so many games and it's like, it's a blessing and a curse, right? It's a blessing if you go, 0 for 4 one day and you can come back right the next day and you can change the narrative. Or it sucks if you're going 0 for 4 and you're lost at the plate, you're going through a slump, and then you have to come back the next day and you have to turn it around. And then the negative press just continues to build. But the players, they've done a good job, honestly, like just kind of not fixating on all that. I think like Jake, for instance, he's not on X. He barely gets on Instagram. Like he stays away from all of that. And I think out of sight, out of mind is the best way to go about it. But this group, I wasn't covering the team last year, but from what I've heard, they have a lot of fight and they believe like, yes, the record doesn't really reflect like the mindset in the clubhouse. And so it has been, tough. They've been so close in a lot of games, but they have a really good mindset and they fight. And I appreciate that.
You and I have a mutual friend that I went to go see in LA yesterday because the White Sox are playing the Dodgers, and you're not out here, so I'm not thrilled about that whatsoever.
I know.
You're probably thrilled for some days off, so that I can understand. But it was interesting because I was trying to ask her about the team, but we were out at lunch at the hotel. So we're sitting on a patio at the pool where obviously all the players are milling about with their families and stuff. And I just wanted to like whisper what happens when they're not very good, but I like didn't want to offend anybody at the same time. So that's why I was curious to know how they handle the bad press and tough questions like that.
No, I mean, it's hard. And the thing with like being in the press, especially covering the team, it's like, you're trying to get answers and you're not trying to be completely oblivious to like what's going on, or you're oblivious to what's going on like in the game, and if there's a rough outing or something like that. So you got to ask sometimes the tough questions, but you're also trying to shine a positive light. I'm like, okay, but look at this, look how he's progressing. So but they, again, like all the players, they're so cool, they're chill, like they all have such a good mindset. They really do have a good group in the clubhouse. So yeah.
Well, if you're not in LA, you're very clearly coming to us from Chicago because I know what your apartment looks like in the city. Yes. So what are you doing with these days off?
So I needed a couple days just to catch up on stuff. And also, by the way, I am trying to hire a home organizer because I feel like you're very organized and you're on top of your stuff. You're not? I feel like you're very much on top of like all that. My closet. Okay, you know what it's like? Clear home, clear mind kind of thing. It's like things are put away, but they're just put away. They're not organized. And so it stresses me out. Like I walk into my closet and I'm like, I don't know where anything is. Things aren't fitting in the drawers right. So I'm looking for a home organizer. That is my top priority. Ooh, so if you know anybody watching, let me know.
What's that show on Netflix? I used to watch it all the time, so it's bothering me that I don't remember what it's called. Basically, those two women that clean up people's homes and they do celebrities. They did like Reese Witherspoon, and
Khloe Kardashian's Home Edit. Yes,
like something like that.
Yes, I need it. I told Jake, I was like, I just think and by we I mean me, I think I would feel better.
Jake's not putting a lot in that closet. That's so weird.
I told Jake last night. He was just like, okay. I'm like, I promise we're going to love it. We're going to have, everything's going to be labeled. It's going to be amazing. I'm like, no stress. And he's like, I'm not stressed. I was like, no stress. So anyways, I'm looking for that. And then, but it was nice just to have a couple days off. I'm going to San Diego literally like in an hour. I'm leaving for the airport. I only can go for 24 hours. We're doing the Dinner on the Diamond thing. So every year, like a team, like the White Sox had one, but the Padres, they go all out. They have T.I. is performing.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
I know. I'm excited. I'm an Atlanta girl. Like, I love T.I.
He's your height, by the way.
He's what?
He's your height. I saw him at a pizza parlor in West Hollywood once.
No way.
This famous pizza parlor where people used to go watch games. I actually don't think it's around anymore. But yeah, I saw him walking out to get into his car with Tiny. Actually, she's even tinier.
Oh,
I can imagine. He is your height. Like, I couldn't believe it.
I'm like debating going up to him and be like, I used to listen to you all the time. I gotta stop myself.
Like. Oh my God. No.
Like Atlanta girl, he's probably like, couldn't care less. Like that you're from
I
Atlanta.
think he'd love it. Because I don't know if these days he's getting as much love.
Oh my gosh, Dani. Okay, speaking of old rappers, I saw this video of the Yin Yang twins. performing at SeaWorld.
Mhm.
When I tell you, I didn't even recognize them. I got to show you this video. Bless their hearts. They have aged a lot.
Oh,
It makes me
no.
feel
Really?
so old. Yes. And all I can
Wow.
think about when I'm watching them is like when we're all in the nursing home, like years and years from now, us just jamming out to the Yin Yang Twins. Like that's all I could think about.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy because have you seen? Okay. My dream concert has always been Nelly. I've never been. I've never seen him perform. He's my all-time favorite artist, rapper, you name it. I'm obsessed with Nelly. I lived in St. Louis. For some reason, never saw him. I met Murphy Lee, 𝗵𝗵𝘃, Chingy, all
Murphy
the St.
Lee, what a
Lunatics,
throwback.
and never met Nelly. And then I was supposed to go to his black and white ball that he has every year in St. Louis, but then the Rams moved from St. Louis to LA, so I didn't get to go to that. I met a background dancer for him, and I was going to go with her to the concert once. And then the Rams added a training camp practice, like right in the middle of the concert time. So when I tell you this has been on my bucket list forever. When I was in Chicago, he was performing somewhere in Milwaukee. We were going to drive up and go. It was a festival. I couldn't wait. I was so excited, about to cross off my bucket list. And then it like started thundering and lightning outside and they canceled the concert because it was outdoors.
You're like, are these signs that I shouldn't meet him?
Right. So he's got this new show with 𝗏𝗏𝗏 on Peacock. He's 50 years old. They're celebrating his 50th birthday. I'm like, how did this happen?
How did we get here? That's what I wanted. I'm telling you, you have to look up this video of the Yin Yang Twins because you're just like, what?
We're gonna
how did we get here?
Right here. We'll put it on social. We'll play it right here.
Let me see if I can find it because I sent it to our group text last night. I go, guys, I feel so old. Hold on.
Yeah, I want to see. You know what? Kudos to him getting out there and still shaking it like a salt
everybody,
shaker.
They still love it.
Yeah, that would be me. I'd be in the crowd going nuts. Love it. Love it. But you know what? Good for him. Because
good for the Yin Yang Twins.
Nelly does not look like that. Nelly looks great.
Nelly still looks good.
He's performing. I'm afraid to put this in the universe. Nelly is performing in Chula Vista on August 27th. Chula Vista is just a suburb of San Diego. My intent is to go.
If I'm in San Diego, I'll go with you.
I'm crossing my fingers that I finally make it to a Nelly concert.
Putting it in the universe.
You said you'd go with me because right now I'm going alone.
That's how much you want to meet him. You're like, I will go by myself.
100%.
I love that him and 𝗏𝗏𝗏 are back together. Like this is full circle moment. This is what we need. This is what we need.
One episode in to Nelly and 𝗏𝗏𝗏 and I had goosebumps because they go back and they talk about how they used to date. They dated on and off for like 11 years during our childhood and their childhood. Well, we're a little bit younger than them, but they dated on and off for forever. And I didn't know if I was going to like the show, to be honest with you, because 𝗏𝗏𝗏 had an old reality show that I didn't really like all that much. But with Nelly, you know, I'm plugged in. And it was actually really cute to figure out how they rekindled the romance, what went wrong, and how her mom, when she first saw him recently, because they first ran into each other after years and years and years of not seeing each other, probably 6 years is what they said. They ran into each other, and her mom saw him first and was like, oh no. Which is such a mom reaction. She was like,
she's like, went all
here? Yuck.
She went all protective. Hopefully at the age of like 50, we've gotten past the, you know, F-boy phase. But tell that to Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck. So,
by the way, craziest stories have been coming out in pop culture. Did you see Tom Brady's been dancing with Sydney Sweeney?
I saw that. So the Jeff Bezos wedding, I've been watching very closely just to see the decor. I mean, when you got that kind of money, I'm like, all right, what's your taste like? Like, what are we working with here? I have my opinions on the dress and the carpet during the ceremony. That's neither here nor there. But Tom Brady and Sydney Sweeney, that was not on my bingo card for the Bezos wedding.
I also read that he was dancing with Brooke Nader, so maybe he was just getting it in.
Brooke Nader is everywhere. Have you noticed that?
Beautiful.
Gorgeous. But I'm like, you're always just kind of like in the scene. You're just always like, you're always there.
I kind of feel that way about Sydney Sweeney.
That's true. But Sydney acts like she has like actress, Sydney Sweeney. Oh, I guess Brooks is like a model. I guess she's a model.
But did you see Sydney Sweeney also went on a walk with Orlando Bloom after Katy Perry and Orlando Bloom called it quits? I was not expecting that relationship to end either. Sorry, if you came here for sports, hold on.
We'll get to that in a second. I'm really upset that they broke up because I thought they were very cute, and I thought that like this is a couple that's gonna last for a really, really long time. And I also feel really bad for Katie because she's getting a lot of backlash about her concert, and then the whole going to space thing, and then everybody's like, oh, that's why Orlando like dumped her, was because he got the ick. I don't think so. I don't think that's it. So hopefully they get back together. But would you choose Tom Brady or Orlando Bloom if you're Sydney Sweeney?
Tom Brady.
I do love a British
Orlando
accent.
Bloom. Well, this is why I, date toxic men. You know what? Actually, as I was sitting here, I was drinking my coffee and I forgot what mug I chose. Okay, everybody, please look at this. It's from Ted Lasso. It says, "Don't you dare settle for fine."
I love that. Give that a
Pence
nice.
said.
We love
Ted
that.
Lasso, in regards to what type of man she should settle down with. Don't settle for fine.
No.
So, anyways,
Preach.
Yeah, we love to see it.
Preach. Real quick. So going back to TV shows, should we talk about Love Island really quick before we dive into sports?
Yeah, we promise we're getting into sports, but this is very important because this is at top of mind right now. This consumes my household, Love Island.
So, okay, I just started it because I was having so much FOMO because you watch it, my coworkers watch it. I mean, everybody is on this Love Island train. So I was like, might as well. I'm not really a big reality show person, and you know this. And the first episode, I was like, what are we doing? Like the whole like, go make out with two people and see who you connect with. I'm like, what? But I can't stop watching it. So I posted after like watching 3 episodes that I really like 𝗬𝗏. And TikTok, Love Island TikTok, I don't think she's very liked right now.
Right. So Brooke's very behind. If you're a Love Island
I'm like
listener,
on episode like
she's
6.
on episode. Bella is still in the villa. She's
I know, sweet Bella.
Sweet Bella. And Brooke had this take on Instagram saying that 𝗬𝗏 is her favorite. It's very cute, Brooke. That might change.
Okay. Let me just say why I liked her, because she seems like a girl's girl. She seemed very chill, and then she was very much like, sticking up for the girls. But then I know how these reality show edits work. It's like anytime you anytime you really like someone, they're trying to build them up because they might be the villain later or something's going to happen. She's going to have some sort of issue, I think, with a girl that like a bombshell that comes in.
So you're at the beginning and you're saying 𝗬𝗏 is a girl's girl.
Okay, so she must not be a girl's girl.
No, it's just funny because stuff spirals, and if you were up to date currently, this is the big debate right now, is if she is really a girl's girl. And I think the internet at the moment, as of episode, 27? I think the internet's agreeing with you now, but there's a lot of stuff that happens in the middle that's convoluted. So just hang on tight, Brooke. It's a roller coaster ride of catastrophe and heartbreak and craziness.
So it's so funny. Okay, it's funny you say that because I keep having people message me on Instagram. They're like, "Have you caught up yet? What do you think of 𝗬𝗏?" And I'm like,
"You want 25 straight hours yet so that you can catch up?"
I need to. Well, I'm about to get on this flight, so there's 4 good hours right there I'm going to dedicate. Well, my problem is I'll watch it while falling asleep, and then I wake up at 4 a.m. and I'm like, what episode am I on? Mm-hmm. But I mean, I have my opinions on all the people, but that's neither here nor there.
Well, 𝗏𝗏 or Bella, crazy enough, is an Oregonian.
I know. So do you have is she from the same area where you're from, or what?
No, she's from a very small town called Gold Beach, Oregon, which is like a haul down the coastline towards California, but it's far. It's not a close drive by any stretch of the imagination from Portland. You're looking at I think 6 hours, maybe 7 hour drive, probably 6 hour drive south. And it's interesting. So my godfather, my Uncle Ted, owns a bookstore in Gold Beach, Oregon. And when he passed away, we needed to figure out what we were going to do with the bookstore. And 𝗏𝗏's family lives in Gold Beach, and they also have a coffee shop, and they wanted to buy our bookstore because the bookstore had a coffee shop in it. But it's just very fascinating because we've actually dealt with their family before, and the ultimate reason that they wanted to buy our bookstore was so that the mom could have an Instagram page for the daughter.
An
𝗏𝗏.
Instagram page for the. Is it really? I love how you
That's what I call her because if you spell it, it's 𝗏𝗏. So Bella.
Has she always spelled her name like that?
Yes, because 𝗏𝗏 asked her that in her interview, and yes, she has always spelled her name like that. And yeah, it's a very interesting spelling of her name, but find it really fascinating that her mom, their whole intention was to make her Instagram famous. Now, she hasn't lived in Oregon in a really long time. She spends most of her time in Hawaii, but that was the intent behind the purchase, or the wannabe purchase. They didn't end up buying our bookstore. We sold it elsewhere.
That's so interesting. The whole time I saw that she was from Hawaii, and I guess I missed the connection to Oregon, but I'm like, where is she? I couldn't figure out, like,
that accent's different.
Where her accent's from. Yeah. But I'm hooked, and I think we should do recaps every week on Love Island about Love Island.
You got to catch up, girlfriend.
But I got to catch up. I have to watch 25 episodes in a week, but I could do it.
It's really impressive,
my mind to it,
how they're able, just having a little bit of a glimpse into the TV world and understanding like how much work goes into editing. They have a full day's worth of hours and hours and hours worth of footage, different camera angles, all of that, different audio recordings, and they're pairing all of that up and putting out an episode every single day. That is, I hope they are paying their producers a lot of money.
It's literally Big Brother on steroids. That's what it is.
Crazy.
Wild. Okay, I guess we should talk some sports.
Let's get into some sports.
Okay, well, I think the biggest thing right now, Wimbledon is going on, which that's on my bucket list. One day, we're going to go. But huge, because 23 seeded players were knocked out in the first round. I was watching Coco Gauff's match yesterday. Shocking after taking the French Open. But she was saying that mentally she felt like she was kind of overwhelmed. What are you hearing in regards to what happened with there?
I'm not too surprised what happened with Coco Gauff. I was surprised that she lost in the first round, but I didn't expect her to have a huge showing at Wimbledon. Not anything against her, just results based at Wimbledon in the past. So she had never made it past the fourth round in her whole career at Wimbledon. And yes, you may say, there's a lot of people that could say, well, she just won a French Open, so she'll carry that momentum in. But when you win a major, it takes everything out of you, because not only did you finally reach the pinnacle of a goal that you've been striving for your entire life, you also go on these crazy press tours. She was all over America doing Good Morning America, the Today Show, you name it. She was on she was on it. And then Jimmy Kimmel, everything, Jimmy Fallon, all the things. Then she flies back to Europe and tries to play in a couple grass court events leading into Wimbledon. She's not playing well. People way below her standard are beating her. And those are only a few tune-up tournaments prior to the grass court season. So what people might not know about tennis, grass court season is very small. There's only 3 weeks that lead into Wimbledon. And so if you don't play in those tournaments, or if you don't do well in those tournaments, you're not getting a lot of matches under your belt to feel comfortable on a surface change, because they just went from the French Open, which is on clay, to now to grass. And so I just think the hangover from the French Open probably got to her a little bit. And when I talk about the matches under your belt, Diana Yastremska, the player that beat her, is 42 in the world. So she was unseeded at the tournament, but really close to the top 40, and had won 6 grass court matches going into Wimbledon. So she may not have made super deep runs, but she had won 6 matches leading into Wimbledon. So because of that, I think it gave her the momentum and the confidence on the surface.
Momentum is such a real thing. And I think that's so interesting how you mentioned how short of a season grass court is. And I didn't think about that. Like, she is, you're going back over to the States. It's an awesome opportunity. You won, a major, and you need to capitalize on that platform, especially as you're trying to grow your brand and grow your name. But then at the same time, it's like, you got to like have short-term memory, because you got to get ready for the next one. It's like, so how do you balance that? And it makes it all the more impressive, the players that are able to just keep performing one after another and after another and maintain that consistency.
Yeah, like Carlos Alcaraz, who just won the French Open in that crazy French Open final, 5.5 hours. Neither of them call for a bathroom break. No one calls for the physio. Like, unbelievable.
That's crazy. No bathroom break?
No bathroom break. No trainer
are you a
working
camel?
on them. Nothing.
That's impressive. That's
so
impressive.
He goes from that. Then he plays in we call them tune-up tournaments leading into Wimbledon. So he plays a grass court event at Queens and wins that. And he's the 2-time defending champion at Wimbledon. It's unbelievable what Carlos Alcaraz can do, and just the amount of stamina, talent, the way he can compartmentalize his brain. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. And there's definitely a reason why he's the favorite there. But you did mention a bunch of seeds losing. 23 seeds in the first round. Is that what you told me?
Yeah.
That's wild. But I will say, I'm not all that surprised just because this is a smaller section of, tennis tournaments, but it's quite a lot. I would say if people want an American to cheer for, there's 2 Americans I'd give you.
Okay.
Madison Keys, cheer for her. She does really well on the grass. She has a 77% winning percentage on this surface. She won her first slam this year at the Australian Open. I think she's playing with a ton of confidence. Her game translates so well to the grass. So I think she's someone to pay attention to on the women's side for Americans. And if you want an American to follow on the men's side, Taylor Fritz, we've talked about his girlfriend a lot on this show, Morgan Riddle, but who also has been looking stunning at Wimbledon. But Taylor Fritz won 2 of the tune-up tournaments on grass leading into Wimbledon. So he has, I think he has 10 titles in his career. 5 of them are on grass. So he's very, very good on this surface. Alexander Zverev was in his side of the quarter and has already lost in the first round. So there's a nice little path for Taylor Fritz to get to the semifinals at least. So someone to pay attention to and root on hard if you want some red, white, and blue at Wimbledon to do well.
I feel like Taylor is due. I feel like he's always kind of been on the cusp. And I feel like coming into this season, a lot of people, like we talked about it, it was kind of the year for the American guys, right? So cool to see if he could win at Wimbledon. But going to his girlfriend, Morgan, because I have been watching her TikToks, I've been watching her content because of course I love the fits. And strawberries are what Wimbledon is known for. And she had the most adorable strawberry little heels. I saw an article, and we've talked about her, Paige Lorenz, and all the other wags, and how the tennis wags, just how chic they are and how much they've been able to use this platform and just to, springboard their careers. It's just so fascinating to me. As a wag myself, in baseball, it's just cool to see the different cultures and all the sports, and just the tennis one is just so fascinating.
Yeah, this new article that you sent me a little breakdown of it. I need to go read it. I believe it's W Magazine.
Yeah, W Magazine.
The article. And it highlights a bunch of these tennis wags. One notably missing from that article is Morgan Riddle, but Taylor Fritz didn't play in the tournament. She didn't come. So anyways, where they shot this article at Monte Carlo earlier this year. And I remember watching all of that happen on social media. So I was excited to see where all of this content ended up. But it is really interesting. That article brings up a very interesting point, which is these influencer girlfriends look so chic and so glamorous and are getting all these massive deals for being a girlfriend of a tennis player or a wife of a tennis player. But these female tennis players that actually play the sport are not getting deals like this. And why that is. And I don't know the answer. I'm curious what you think.
That's so interesting. I don't know. It's such and I think the whole idea of the wags right now is very in. I think a lot of brands are really into that. You saw it with, maybe it's the Taylor Swift effect, where you saw, what she can do with football, but especially with tennis. I also thought it was interesting that, there's a group of girls that are no shame. And Morgan, I respect the fact that she's no, I am using Taylor and I'm using his career to help launch my career. Paige Lorenz even said she has her own thing, Dairy Boy, but she was tennis has definitely grown my following. But then there's those other wags. I forgot who she is. She's an equestrian, and she wants to keep her life like completely separate from his. And so it's just the dynamic of just like, yeah, I'm here to support you, but then the other ones are like capitalizing, which honestly now I'm like, you know, to
Yeah,
each their
maybe
own.
you should do that for when you go to Jake's games, because I guess now that we're talking about it, my thoughts on why it's going towards WAGs and not so much tennis
Yeah.
players is because they're sitting on the sidelines and they get to, they get shot
Yeah.
all match
Yeah.
long. They show the box where the
Mhm.
players, coaches, physios, team, and wives or girlfriends sit. And so they're constantly on camera. So, you're getting a ton of advertising to shoot them. So I do get that from a bigger perspective.
No, and that's such a good point too. The camera, like, gosh, how many times does the camera pan to the box like throughout the entire match? And depending on certain sponsorships too. I also think like I was talking with Kate, my friend, who we know Kate obviously, who's an influencer full time, and some of those girls, like when you're just in that mindset, like of just making content and just like how to help, how to grow your brand, how to work with these like sponsors and stuff. It's just, it comes so much easier. Like, I just feel like as an athlete, like, yeah, you have the platform and stuff, but like, you're not in that content creating mode. Like the way you show the product is completely different. And so I think like, Morgan and Paige, like they're vlogging, they're posting on TikTok, they're posting on Instagram. It's like they are just constantly feeding stuff.
It's
to
their work
social media.
day. So that makes
is.
sense,
Yeah.
Whereas the work day for an athlete is completely different. And then this would be additional work for them to create the content.
Right.
So also it would make them have to go out. Like if you're not the primary sponsor of their kit on court, then you're trying to get them on board with a brand off the court, but that would require a tennis player then to go to dinner all the time, go out, make sure they set up a camera, make sure they, do something glamorous enough to take photos in these outfits, which they're traveling around the world, they're exhausted and they need the rest. And some of them just flat out don't leave the hotel like at an entire tournament. So that probably plays a big role as well.
Yeah. Well, and I think also thinking of their following too. And I think like, something that we've talked about here being women in sports, we're all for like men following us. We get it. We're in a male dominated industry, but we're also like here for the girls too. And so I think like women athletes, like they have, and I'm so happy. Like when you see in the W and other sports, there's more women getting into sports, which is so great, like becoming fans. But it's a lot of males that follow these athletes. And so I think when you have like the WAGs, they're building their brand off of girls. And so like clothing brands and all, they want to work with them. And I guess it's just the type of audience like they're targeting. But I just think it's so fascinating. The WAG tennis life.
It's so interesting. And they definitely live a glamorous lifestyle.
They need a reality show.
All of the TV or all of the locations that they get to travel to. And also, yes, that as a reality show would be awesome. I would sign up for that in a heartbeat.
I would be here for it. Yeah, because they used to, do they even do the WAG show anymore? They used to have it.
They used to, but a lot of it wasn't current WAGs. Remember, it was a lot of people who were done.
Ooh, did not mean to give you a
thumbs up. Brooke's doing this off her iPad. So the whole new technology of Apple is giving you a thumbs up. But yeah, that WAG show, I think were former WAGs, or they are currently WAGs and married to former athletes, I should say, where the athlete is not currently playing. So that would be a really fun thing. They'd have to have a really big budget, whatever TV network decided to do that, because they're flying literally all across the world to be able to do this. Plus you have to get, I could see that being a very expensive project, but it would be very, very interesting for sure.
I would be tuning in.
You mentioned something though, we got to mention, which is the W expanding.
Yes.
Into 3 more cities. Philly,
3 more cities.
Detroit, and Cleveland are getting added. Portland, my hometown, was announced that it was added last year, so they don't start play until this upcoming year. But that's now like 5 new cities in just a matter of 2 years. That just shows the growth of the sport and the eyeballs on it, which is very exciting.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think, and of course, like spending time in Detroit, I think it's so great. It's such a great sports town and well-deserved. And I think, they had a W team in the past, so I think it's going to be received really well. But to your point, we've talked about over the last few years, just, okay, we see the momentum growing. We've seen, the Caitlin Clark effect. We've seen more eyeballs on the W than any other time. in its history, it's like, okay, but are they going to capitalize here? Are they going to make the most of it? And I think expansion, you mentioned Portland and expanding to 3 other cities, like in the next few years, that's awesome. I thought it was funny though, because 𝗏𝗏 𝗏𝗏, she's making headlines a lot lately, and she was talking about, you want players to be excited about the cities that they go to, and she said something along the lines of like, I don't know if players would be excited to go to Detroit or Cleveland. And I'm like,
Detroit's taking shots.
Yeah, first off, why is everybody hating on Detroit? And 2, you play in Indianapolis. Like, you play in Indiana. Like, you no room to talk.
The Indiana argument, she didn't choose Indiana. Indiana chose her, okay? But
right.
So give me a reason why. I understand, because everybody's always like, oh, I want to play in Miami. I want to play in Los Angeles. I want to play in the Bay. I want to play in Arizona, places that people would choose to live in if given the option. So she's saying that these added cities, Cleveland and Detroit in particular, are not destination spots for anybody. Like, it's not something that they would circle on their bingo card and be like, yeah, I want to live there. So Brooke, why don't you give the argument for Detroit? Because I feel like you're very passionate about the fact that Detroit's catching flack in this.
Yeah. Okay. First off, beggars can't be choosers. Okay. Like, we should be stoked that the W is expanding and the eyeballs that are on the W right now. And the fact that there's 3 cities that are picking up a W team, let's just be happy with that. And let me just tell you something about Detroit, okay? Because I had the opportunity of being there for 3.5 years. And don't get me wrong, before I went there, I was like, I'm going to Detroit, But it is very slept on. The downtown scene has picked up. I mean, they have incredible restaurants. It has character to it. You go to some of these cities and it's so boring. And you're like, where's the history? Where's the culture? Detroit has culture, and downtown is growing. It has great neighborhood. Like, it's starting to have their little neighborhoods, great restaurants, very walkable. And then, I mean, Cleveland, I don't have anything to say on Cleveland, but people keep sleeping on Detroit, and put some respect on their name. And it's a great sports town. They rally around their teams. Their team sucked for a while, and they still drew fans to all the games. So there's that. And I know I'm in Chicago right now, and I know Detroit is like rivals, whatever, but like, I like to defend the underdogs here. And I feel like they're an underdog in this conversation, so I'm going to defend them.
Well, it's okay. We can give Chicago a little bit of love too. I did get to go back and visit Chicago over last weekend, not this last weekend, the weekend prior. And it's really interesting, after having lived there, how to decide what you're going to do in 4 or 5 days that you get to go. 3, 4, 5 days. Trying to rank the best parts of Chicago and decide like which restaurant you're going to choose and what activity you're going to do is so unbelievably difficult, because the city has so much to offer, especially in the summer.
It's one of the best cities in the country.
No, it's the best city.
It is the best city in the country.
It is the best.
It is. Because you can, I don't know how and I think your perspective changes. Like, it's one thing, like when you live here and you're just like, okay, yeah, I can go to the beach anytime, or I can do this anytime. But like, you only have a few days. So it's, how did you decide? What was your favorite? What were you like, oh, I really miss this?
I really missed the Riverwalk. The Riverwalk is my favorite part of Chicago. And when it's the summer and everyone's buzzing and walking around down there, and you're seeing the boats and you're seeing City Winery, and people are sitting out there drinking their wine, and the boats pull up and the people sit on their boats and play music. And then you go to Tiny Tap and you're just walking around. Everyone's in a good mood because it's sunny and gorgeous, and on the water like that is so fun. You see all the boats driving by, going into the playpen, but you can like see the groups and different boat styles and different music coming out of different boats. It's so much fun. I love it. We just had to dedicate a few hours a day just to be hanging out down by the Riverwalk. Anytime you can get into 𝗵𝗶𝗏𝗶 𝗿𝗏 or RPM Seafood, or I just tried somewhere else that was River Roast. I tried that over the weekend.
Oh, how'd you like it?
Kitchen. Loved it. Loved it. It's a little bit different vibe than a 𝗵𝗶𝗏𝗶 𝗿𝗏 or an RPM Seafood. But you can go to London House. If you go across the street, you can go up there.
Rooftop there.
difficult to decide where you're going to go view the Riverwalk, but there's great options.
It's the Riverwalk is great. And right now I feel like we're finally turning the corner. And I was getting a little upset because it was cold up until the 1st of June. And then we finally it finally broke through. But these like 3 months in Chicago, there's seriously nothing better.
There's nothing better. It was 100 degrees when I went, and I actually went and watched a Cubs game in the middle of a Saturday, and we were sitting in the bleachers, so no shade. But to be honest with you, it was probably better being in the bleachers than behind, because I do think that there was more airflow out there. It was so unbelievably hot, but it was so much fun still. But okay, then you got Wrigleyville, which I think is a total good time. You've got live music and different bars, so you can pop around that whole area. You go watch a Cubs game as well. You can go to West Loop, where there's a ton of great restaurants and all of that. I will say it's very difficult for me to pick a favorite steakhouse, but I have to say Gibson's, go visit Mark. He's the bartender. He works Monday through Thursday. Tell him Dani sent you, because he makes the best dirty martini in the entire town of Chicago.
That's a bold statement. But I got to go visit Mark because I love a good dirty martini. Yeah. Gibson's happy hour is top notch. It's the best. Yeah. And I love sitting out there and, well, I like sitting by the bar, but I also like sitting outside and people watching. That's one of my favorite things. And just drinking and just, watching people walk by. It's so fun.
Niagara Triangle, that's what it's called. It's a nice little nickname, and it's there for a reason. I've seen some things.
Chicago looks good on you, Dani. We miss you. We miss you here.
Thanks. It was so fun to be able to go, and we got to catch up with you, which was really exciting as well. Brooke, it's halfway through the White Sox season. You already gave us a little update on the team and moving forward, but is there anything else we need to know about what's going on with the White Sox? Is there anything we need to know about your schedule coming up? What are people looking forward to in the city of Chicago in terms of White Sox land?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, the trade deadline is coming up, and I think a lot of people are anxious and eager to see if we're going to make any moves. There's obviously certain names that are being thrown around. And Chris gets, I think he's answering. The phone is ringing a lot, and he's answering, and he's taking calls. But I think he is also very particular on, taking deals if it's worth it. So I think that's something, obviously, to keep in mind. I'm going to the All-Star game in Atlanta, which I'm so excited. Hopefully, obviously, every team gets one person that goes to the All-Star game. But hopefully we got a couple on the White Sox, so I get to go see my family. And I've never been to, no, I take that back. I was at the last one, I think last time I was in Atlanta, but I haven't worked it, which is like a bucket list for me. So I'm so excited.
So what does that entail? So if you go and you're getting the assignment of All-Star Weekend, do you have any idea of what you get to do, or has there been chatter about what events you'll attend?
So we haven't gone through details because we're still trying to figure out who's going to be in it and, whatever. But obviously the game. And then I think, the home run derby, I would love to at least attend that and just cover from media aspect. There's the celebrity softball game, but then I'm also trying to balance seeing family. And then poor Jake, I'm for a player that's not in the All-Star game, the last thing he wants to do on his All-Star break is be around baseball. So I told him, I'm great news. I get to cover the All-Star game. Bad news, you're going to have to come with me. So, no, he's so excited about it. In a sense, we get to see our nephews, we get to see our family. And then we're going to stay at Nobu a couple of nights. It'll be great. But it's just kind of funny. I was going to say, do you get any, does Jake get any actual vacation time during his All-Star break, or are we just sticking right around baseball in Atlanta? I don't want him to have to be around it or think about it. So he's not going to want to go to the games. I'm that's fine. So he's probably going to go golf. He's probably going to go, hang out with Gordon and Brian. But yeah, so.
Look, there's sacrifices you both are making in this relationship.
This is true.
And this might be his.
I'm literally going to San Diego for 24 hours to go to a dinner
Exactly.
on the Diamond, and I'm coming back and doing NASCAR, which NASCAR is so fun. That talking about like fun things in Chicago. Have you been to a NASCAR race before,
No,
right?
I haven't been to NASCAR. I almost went the one year that I was in Chicago, like maybe whenever it rained, and it rained a
Yeah.
lot. So I didn't end up going because
Yes.
it was pouring down rain. And then I think I was out of town the following year after that. But tell us about NASCAR in Chicago.
Well, it's been around for a couple years, and like you said, it's unfortunate because it's rained both years. But it's such a cool concept. So it's Chicago street race, and they race on all the main streets in Chicago that we drive on a daily basis. But they try to make it kind of like a whole event throughout the weekend. So Zach Brown Band is going to be performing one night. So I love a good Zach Brown concert. So go in there. Then they have like a lot of local vendors. They have some local bands. They're trying to make it feel kind of like a street festival, like just a whole thing. So it's cool. It's a cool concept, and it is interesting to see like a lot of the big names in NASCAR, how they adapt to street racing, because it is completely different. And so some guys that, Shane Van Gisbergen is one that's done really well on street race, and he's done well here in Chicago. So that's a name to keep an eye on. We're just praying no rain. We don't need rain.
Okay, but here's the deal. If people are watching this, because obviously this goes on TV screens in
Yeah.
Chicago, across Chicago, tell people, what do they need to know going to NASCAR in Chicago? What do they need to buy in advance or look to buy in advance? What are some of the things that they need to be prepared to go?
Well, you can buy like a weekend pass, and you can buy for all 3 days, or you can buy, one day if you want to. So you can go to their website. And so we'll put it details when we post. We'll probably post this clip, but we'll put details there. But yeah, you can buy that. You make sure, I would recommend earplugs because it gets a little loud, and you have to bring a clear bag. What else? You also can listen. This is really cool. You can get the radio, and you can listen in to the pit crew. That's the most fascinating part for NASCAR, I feel like, is just how quick they can change tires, how quick they can change everything. But you can listen in to the drivers talking to their pit crew throughout the race. So you can buy that if you want. I just think it's really cool, because I grew up in like Georgia, and NASCAR was like Mecca down there. So just kind of seeing it adapt here to Chicago, which I know they have, racetracks close by, but I think it's cool, and I hope people come out.
It's going to be 93 and sunny for race day for NASCAR Chicago. So
93 and sunny. Bring your sunscreen.
You're going, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, and what's cool too is, I think they're trying, like, you look at Formula One, and like Formula One is like its own thing. Like, they're two very different things. But I think with the street races, they're working with different brands. They have like tailgates you can go to, where it's like a social aspect, and you can kind of hang out there, and you can go watch the race if you want. You can go back, hang out at the bar, get a drink. Like, it's a very sceney thing. So there's something for like all the NASCAR lovers, or it could be like for the casual fan that's just looking for something to do. So it's like a whole thing.
Yeah, go socialize.
Go be social. It's beautiful in Chicago.
Outfit. Yeah.
Wear a cute outfit. That's what we did the first year that we went, and then we got rained on. But it's not going to rain this year.
No rain.
Please, Mother Nature, no rain. What are you doing this week? Real quick, before we let you go.
This week, let's see. It's 4th of July weekend. So I'm actually headed up to Oregon for tomorrow. So tomorrow's going to be Thursday. I'm going to Oregon for just Thursday and Friday, so the 3rd and 4th, because I love boating. I love being on the river, being with family, watching fireworks from the river. I just think there's nothing more nostalgic and perfect than that. But I also cannot give up the beach on a 4th of July weekend. So I'm going to fly back Saturday morning, and we're having a big beach party that we're going to down the street. That will be super fun on Saturday, and Sunday will be full of recovery. What are you going to do for the rest? You going to watch a fireworks somewhere?
I'm so jealous. No, I'm going to be working NASCAR. So I'm going to be flying back at 6 a.m. from the dinner on the Diamond the next morning, and come find me at Grant Park, everybody, for some NASCAR stuff.
Brooke is always working. She's booked and busy, people, but she's making that dough. We love to see it.
We do like to make some cash around here. We
We
sure
gotta,
do.
pay for the organizer that's gonna mess us up.
Yes. If you know of an organizer, let me know. I am on the hunt. Well, Dani, I had so much fun. It was so great to see you. I miss you. Chicago misses you. Happy 4th of July, everybody, and we will see you next week.